कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी
गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी
यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी
गोपी जना वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी
यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना
यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी
यमुना तीरवनचारी
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to all. Today we are going to discuss a fourth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita called Transcendental Knowledge. This chapter has got 42 verses. It's divided into 4 divisions. The first division, Krishna re-establishes the chain of disciplic succession and also explains the simple method of attaining liberation. Verse number 1 to 15. In second division, Krishna explains about the symptoms of a person in full knowledge of action. Verse number 16 to 24. Third division, Krishna explains about different types of sacrifices approved in the Vedas. Verse number 25 to 33. The last division, called Transcendental Knowledge, Krishna explains about Transcendental Knowledge, verse number 34 to 42. So we'll see the first division. In the end of previous chapter, Krishna explained the soul is superior to intelligence, mind and senses. If you are engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, naturally all the subordinates, namely intelligence, mind, senses, will be controlled. In this way, one can conquer the greatest enemy of living entity known as Mr. Lust. What is lust? Lust means gratifying one's own senses. That is called lust. Love means gratifying the senses of Krishna. Arjuna wanted to gratify his own senses by going to forest at the cost of even sacrificing his own duty. He was deviating from his own dharma. What is dharma? Dharma of living being is to render service unto Krishna without any motivation. But Arjuna was deviating from dharma. Arjuna's duty was to serve the mission of the Lord. By serving the mission of the Lord, one can conquer the greatest enemy of the living entity known as Mr. Lust. In this chapter, Krishna explains what is his mission, how the soul is engaged in serving his mission by learning the transcendental knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master. What is transcendental knowledge? Transcendental knowledge means knowing about Krishna and his transcendental activities and his energies and our eternal relationship with Krishna. This is called transcendental knowledge. In the first section, Krishna re-establishes the chain of disciplic succession and the simple method of attaining liberation. Krishna begins with how he instructed this science to a great person named Vivaswan. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Imam Vivasvade Yogam Proktan Ham Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvakve Bravit. My dear Arjuna, in the beginning I instructed this science, imperishable science, to sun god Vivaswan. In turn, sun god Vivaswan instructed this knowledge, same science, to Manu, his own son. Manu in turn instructed the same science to his son Ikshvaku. One may ask question, why did Krishna instructed this Bhagavad Gita, this science to Vivaswan, sun god Vivaswan? Sun planet is the king of all other planets. It is ruled by a person named Vivaswan. Krishna explained the previous chapter, Yadyat acharti shreshta tadat evitaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. Whatever a great person performs, whatever activity a great person performs, common men follow. Whatever standards he sets by his exemplary acts, entire world pursues. If sun god Vivaswan accepts the science of Bhagavad Gita and follows, practice, naturally then all the kings will follow. Therefore, it is a duty of the administrative head or the leaders of the world should accept Bhagavad Gita and follow Bhagavad Gita. If they follow Bhagavad Gita, then naturally all the citizens will follow. So therefore, leaders are very, very responsible. They have got very responsible service in the society. So generally people requires a great leader who teaches by their own example. Therefore, anyone who teaches by his own behavior is called Acharya. One who teaches by his own example, own behavior. So after sun god received this knowledge from Krishna, he did not keep it with himself. Rather, he distributed this knowledge to Vayasvata Manu. In turn, he instructed the same science to Ikshvaku. In this way, the knowledge was coming down through parampara. Evam parampara praptum imam rajarsho vidu sakalena mata yoganashta parantava. My dear Arjuna, in this way, this science was received through parampara, chain of descending succession. And saintly kings, Raja Rishis, understood in that way. But in due course of time, this succession was broken. Therefore, the knowledge appears to be lost. Why this knowledge is instructed to saintly kings? Krishna did not instruct this knowledge to some third class person, but instructed to saintly kings. And they in turn instruct to saintly kings. Why? Because saintly kings deliver this knowledge to the next generation without adding any masala, without adding any interpretation on their own. People in this age of Kali, they want to take advantage of Bhagavad Gita. They want to give their own Gita. They want to give their own ideas. Therefore, they take Bhagavad Gita and give their own ideas through Bhagavad Gita. In this way, they are doing the greatest disservice to the society. People want to take advantage of Bhagavad Gita. They want to write commentary on Bhagavad Gita just to get a cheap adoration, cheap worship from the common people. Because every one of us have got interest to know what is Bhagavad Gita. People are interested to know what is Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, they go to market to purchase Bhagavad Gita. In everyone's home, they have got Bhagavad Gita. They are inclined to read Bhagavad Gita. They keep the Bhagavad Gita in puja room. So, understanding a people interest, the demanding people take advantage of the people interest. They started giving their own ideas, suggestion. They are giving their interpretation. Therefore, the knowledge is appear to be lost. When it comes to the demonic people, they add their own masala. Therefore, this knowledge appeared to be lost after some period of time. Krishna detected this. Therefore, he had to again speak this knowledge. If anyone writes commentary on Bhagavad Gita without receiving the knowledge through parampara, we should not read that commentary. By reading the commentary of the unqualified person will imbibe his nature and will not make any tangible advancement in devotional service. Therefore, we should receive the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita through a parampara, right person. We can receive the knowledge, right knowledge from the right person. After receiving, we should not deliver the right knowledge to the wrong person. That's most important. Receive the right knowledge from the right person and deliver the right knowledge to the right person, not wrong person. So, Krishna chose Arjuna to deliver this knowledge once again. Why did Krishna choose Arjuna? What qualification Arjuna had? For that, Krishna chose Arjuna. Krishna says, Sa evaya mayatedya yoga prokta puratana bhaktosme sakacheti rahasyam etat uttamam. My dear Arjuna, the same science, the very ancient science that has got relationship with the Supreme is told by me to you today. Why? Because you are my bhakta and my devotee. You are my devotee and my saka, my friend. Only devotee can understand Bhagavad Gita. Only devotees can understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. Not any common person. No common person, non-devotees cannot understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Krishna spoke to Arjuna because Krishna knew very well that Arjuna will not add any masala. He will not give his interpretation. He will deliver the same knowledge to the next generation without adding any interpretation. So Arjuna had a qualification. What was the qualification? He was a devotee of the Lord. He was a friend of the Lord. He was not envious of the Lord. When we are envious of a Lord, we cannot understand. We cannot understand Krishna or his instruction. For example, any unknown person comes to our house and asks how much money we have got in our bank balance. None of us can reveal the secret to unknown person. How much money we have got in a cupboard or locker, how much jewelries we have got in our locker. We can't tell the secret to unknown person. But a husband can tell to his wife how much money is there in the bank, which account, how much money is there, how much cash is there in the locker, how much jewel is there in the locker. Why? Because wife is devoted to husband. She is very, very dear to husband. Therefore, husband reveals the secret to a wife. Similarly, Krishna can reveal the secret to only devotees, not to any third class person. So, in order to understand Bhagavad Gita, one should become devotee of the Lord. Only by the process of devotional service, we can understand Bhagavad Gita, not by our intelligence, material intelligence, not by our educational qualifications. By all these things, we cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. Even if you read 100 times Bhagavad Gita, without becoming a devotee of the Lord, we cannot understand ABCD of Bhagavad Gita. The first and foremost qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita, one should become a devotee of the Lord. And understand Bhagavad Gita in the association of the devotees. So after hearing this from Krishna, Arjuna was curious to know. He had a doubt. What doubt? Krishna appeared almost 90 years ago Arjuna and Krishna were almost same age. They were around 90 years old. Whereas Vivaswan appeared 12 crores years ago. 12 crores of years ago. So then he was at a doubt. How is it possible for Krishna to instruct Vivaswan, who is senior by birth? Therefore he asked this question to Krishna. My dear Krishna, how can I understand that you instructed this science in the beginning to sun god Vivaswan? How do I understand? Because we are all same age. Then Krishna said to Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, we have taken many births, both you and me. I remember all the births, my previous births, but you cannot. Why? Because Krishna's body is transcendental. Therefore, he does not change his body. Whereas our material body, we keep changing. The body ours is material body. The material body keeps changing every moment. We had different body when we are childhood. When we had different body when we are youth. Now we have got different body. The old age will have a different body. Practically, we change our body every moment. Therefore, we are not able to remember what happened. If anyone asks us, last year the same day, what you are doing, we can't remember. We do not know last week the same time what we are doing. Forget about last week. Even yesterday, morning 10 o'clock, somebody asked exactly 10 o'clock what we are doing, what we are thinking. We can't remember because we keep changing the body. That's a defect. Whereas Krishna does not change his body at all. Therefore, Krishna remembers everything. Krishna appeared as tortoise, as Varaha, boar incarnation, as fish incarnation, as Hayagriva, horse incarnation, Narasimha. There are many incarnations Lord appeared. In each incarnation, Lord performed different leelas. But Krishna remembers all the incarnations, whatever activities performed in the previous life, previous incarnations. Whereas we can't remember. We can't remember even yesterday what we were doing. Then what to speak of previous life. This is a difference between the conditioned soul and the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord remembers everything, whereas the conditioned soul, we jivas, the living entities, forget. Then Krishna says, Ajopisan avyayatma bhutana ishvaropisan prakritim sam adhishtaya sambhavami atmamaya. My dear Arjuna, although I am unborn, Ajaha, Krishna is unborn. Although my body, transcendental body, does not deteriorate, although I am the Lord of all the living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Krishna appears like every one of us, but his body does not change. His body does not change like us. He remembers everything. He does not become old. We become old because our body is material body. Krishna's body is a transcendental body. Because Krishna has got transcendental body, it does not deteriorate, does not become old. Body of Lord does not become old like us. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, at the time of war, Mahabharata war, Krishna was around 90 years old. We can never see Krishna in any picture like Krishna is very old. Krishna looks like a 25-year-old. Although he was 90-year-old at the time of war, but still appeared like a 25-year-old boy. At the time, Krishna had many grandchildren also. But we cannot see Krishna is a very old person. Although he is the oldest among all in the past, present, future. Still, he looks like a young person. Why? Because he does not change his body. Next, Krishna explains about what is his mission, what is the purpose for which Lord comes to this world. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuttanami dharmasya tadatmanam srachamiham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in the religious practice and the predominant rise of religion, my dear Arjuna, at the time I advent myself. What is the glani, decline, defect in the religious principles? Whenever there is a defect or a glani, decline in the religious principles, Krishna appears. The real dharma of the living entity is to serve Krishna without any motivation. Sometimes we are carried away by different kinds of dharma, like a Matru dharma, Pitar dharma, Patni dharma, Dasha dharma, social dharma. Even person like Arjuna was carried away different kinds of dharma, family dharma. Therefore, you could not understand what is the intention of the Lord, what is the mission of the Lord. He did not want to fight, he wanted to go to forest because he was carried away by this kind of dharma. This is called dharmasya glani. So Krishna comes and tells what is real dharma. The real dharma is, Krishna says in the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Krishna says, forget all the dharmas, whatever you are following, simply you surrender unto me. You follow my instruction. This is called real dharma. Real dharma means surrender to God, giving up all kinds of family dharma, social dharma, desha dharma, surrender to Krishna and follow his instruction. That is called real dharma. When we forget about this real dharma, Krishna comes to teach the real dharma. The real dharma is that we are eternal servant of Krishna. It's our duty to serve Krishna. Next, Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha duskrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I appear to protect pious devotees, vanquish demons, miscreants, and to re-establish dharma, religious principles. I appear in every millennium in my original form. So three purposes Krishna says. First is to protect devotees, to vanquish demons, and third one, to re-establish dharma, religious principles. Whenever devotees are troubled, Lord personally appears to protect devotees. We can see in the life of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee of Lord, and he was constantly tortured by his own father Hiranyakashipu. He was attempted to be killed many times by Hiranyakashipu. What was the fault of Prahlad Maharaj? He was simply preaching the glories of the Lord. For that reason, Hiranyakashipu became very angry and he wanted to kill his own son. So every attempt made by Hiranyakashipu to kill Prahlad Maharaj, he was protected by Lord. At the end, Lord appeared as Narasimhadeva and killed Hiranyakashipu. He protected Prahlad Maharaj and killed Hiranyakashipu. Even the life of Pandavas. The Pandavas were religious personified. They are the protector of the religious principles. Nevertheless, they were insulted, humiliated, cheated by Duryodhana. Krishna appeared to protect Pandavas, to vanquish demons like Kamsa, Duryodhana, and Shishupala, many demons. So Krishna comes to protect devotees and vanquish demons. Of course, this is the external purpose. These three things are the external purpose for which Lord comes to this world. There's one more purpose called internal purpose. What is the purpose for which Lord comes to this world? That's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Anugraya Bhaktanam Marshum Devim Astita Bachate Tadrisha Krida Yashutva Tatparo Bhaved. When Krishna comes to this material world, he performs wonderful pastimes. For what purpose? To please his unalloyed devotees. When devotees see the pastimes of the Lord, or simply they hear about the glories of the Lord, they become free from all contamination and they will dedicate their life to serve the mission of the Lord. In this way, they go back home, back to Godhead. So Krishna mainly comes to this world to perform his transcendental pastimes, to attract all the conditioned souls towards him like a powerful magnet. Powerful magnet attracts all iron particles. They are like iron particles. Simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, we get attracted to the Lord. If the Lord does not come, he can kill from in his abode only. He can kill demons. He can protect devotees. In order to come, he comes only to deliver us. He comes to please us by performing his transcendental pastimes. This is the internal purpose, the main purpose, ultimate purpose for which Lord comes to this world. If we have not heard about the glories of the Lord, then certainly we would not have dedicated our life to serving. So it's for our own good. It's to deliver us. Krishna comes to this world. Not for killing the demons or protecting devotees. That's secondary. The real purpose to deliver devotees, to please his unalloyed devotees. And simply by hearing about the Lord, one can go back home, back to Godhead. How one can go back home, back to Godhead? That Krishna explains in the next verse. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvata tektva deham punarjanma naiti mamerti sochuna. Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, if anyone understand my birth and activities are transcendental, after giving up this body, will come to my abode. If anyone understands Krishna's activities, Krishna's birth, his instruction are transcendental, then he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead, even in this life, in order to wait for the next life. How can we understand Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental? When we hear Krishna's birth and activities from the mouth of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, when we read the books written by Srila Prabhupada, we will be able to understand Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental, and thus we will be able to purify ourselves and will go to the abode of the Lord. One may ask question, why God should be kind, should be neutral? He says father of all the jivas. Then why did he kill some people? Why he induces Arjuna to kill people on the battlefield? A God cannot give this kind of instruction. Neither he can kill someone, nor he can give instruction to Arjuna to kill. How a God can kill? So Krishna in the previous verse said, he comes to the world to protect devotees and vanquish demons. Protecting devotees, killing demons, these two activities are opposite, completely different by nature. Because Lord Krishna is being absolute, these both activities are one and same. Krishna's protection of his devotees and killing the demons are both one and the same. Because Krishna is absolute. His killing of demons is as auspicious as protecting devotees. When Putana came to kill Krishna, she came like a mother. She wanted to kill Krishna by giving poison through her breast milk. Krishna knew this. Krishna sucked her milk and killed her. Although Krishna killed Putana, Krishna took Putana as his own mother. He accepted Putana as his mother because she came to give him milk. Because I sucked her breast milk, therefore she is my mother. Krishna elevated Putana to his abode and made her and gave the position as his mother. You see the quality of Lord. Although he killed, but he liberated and gave the position of mother to Putana. He killed many people, Sishipala, Dantavakra, Kamsa, but all of them were liberated. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when people were standing, they were shooting arrows at Arjuna. Arjuna was shooting arrows at enemies. They were fighting with Arjuna. At that time, Krishna was a chariot driver of Arjuna. When the warriors are fighting with Arjuna, they looked at the beauty of Krishna. They appreciated the beauty of Lord just by this one qualification. They were all promoted to Vaikuntha because they just awakened the love of Godhead by simply appreciating the beauty of Krishna. Only one qualification at the time of battle. Just they appreciated the beauty of Krishna. Because of this one qualification, they were promoted to Vaikuntha Dhama. They got liberation. Krishna's personal abode is called Goloka Vrindavana. Krishna's expansion, Vishnu, Narayana, they are in Vaikuntha Dhama. If anyone who just awakens his love of Godhead for Krishna is promoted to Vaikuntha. If anyone awakens love of God to the fullest extent, then is promoted to Goloka Vrindavana. That's described in Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd Canto. So although we can see this, both activities, both actions are apparently different, but the result is same. So when Krishna performs the activity, either protecting devotees or killing demons, the result is same. Both of them got liberation. Therefore, Krishna's activity is called transcendental. Why did Krishna say to Arjuna, if anyone understand my activities is transcendental, he'll go back home, back to Godhead? Because Arjuna was thinking of leaving the battlefield, going to the forest. It was desire of Krishna that Arjuna should fight and kill the warriors. But Arjuna was thinking he'll get a sinful reaction for killing his family and friends. But he did not understand the instruction of Krishna. If one understands Krishna's birth and his activities and his instructions transcendental, he is sure to go back home, back to God. If Arjuna accepts Krishna's instruction and if he fights and kills people, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. On the other hand, if Arjuna does not follow the instruction of Krishna, if he goes to forest, he cannot achieve liberation. On the other hand, one can easily achieve liberation simply by following, executing the order of Krishna. This is the first section of this chapter. And also Krishna explains, Krishna creates four kinds of varna, namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Four kinds of varna. And according to their qualities and work, Krishna creates. Although Krishna performs all kinds of duties, still is not entangled. Is not entangled. Therefore Krishna says, Namam karmani impanti name karma phales priha itimam yo abhijanadi karma bir nasa badhyate. This kind of activity do not affect me. Although Krishna performs different kinds of activity, Krishna says, I am unaffected by this kind of activity. And Krishna says that I am not after the fruitive action, nor do I aspire the fruits of my work. Namam karmani imanti name karma phales prusha. If anyone who understands about me, he also does not become entangled in the fruitive reaction of work. According to Shastra, a person, a male person, should not dance with, associate with wife of another person. When we see Krishna, although he created Varnashrama Dharma, is not obliged to follow the rules and regulations of Varnashrama Dharma. Krishna danced with young gopis, a unmarried woman, wife of another person. According to the scripture, it is not correct to dance with wife of another man, but Krishna performed. Krishna performed. Krishna says, these so-called rules and regulations do not apply to me. I am not obligated to follow all these rules. This kind of rules do not affect me. Just like a CMD is there. He has a company. He has got many workers. The CMD of the company is not obligated to follow the rules and regulations of the company. The rules and regulations of the fact is meant for the employees, those who work under CMD. When the employees come, they have to follow. They have to come on time, morning 8 o'clock, they have to punch, they have to go at 4 o'clock in the evening. When they take leave, they have to take permission from the boss. One cannot ask question. The employees should not ask CMD, why you are coming late, why you are going early, why you are not wearing uniform, because you are not following the rules and regulation. We too will not follow the rules and regulation. No employee can question CMD. If employee questions CMD, what will happen? He will be thrown out of the factory. The rules and regulation meant for the employees, not meant for CMD. Should understand this. There are people sometimes say, Krishna does not follow. Why should I follow? Are Krishna is Supreme Lord. We are not Supreme Lord. The rules and regulations meant for us, not for him. Therefore Krishna says, these rules do not affect me. I am not under the rules and regulations. Although I perform all kinds of activity, I remain, I do not get entangled. I am free from bondage because Krishna is Supreme Lord. So there are two things we have to understand. Anusara, Anukara. Anusara means we should follow in the footsteps of the great personalities. Like Krishna performed all the activities, although he was Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nevertheless, he performed. He would get up early in the morning, 3 o'clock, and do meditation, and offer respect to demigods, offer respect to forefathers, and take care of citizens. Everything he did, that we should follow. We should not. Then one more word is called Anukara, imitating the activities of the great personalities. Like Krishna lifted Govardhana hill. We cannot imitate. Krishna danced with the gopis. We should not imitate. By imitating, we'll fall down. So we should understand these two words, following and imitating. These are the first section. The second section, Krishna explains the symptoms of a person in full knowledge of action. The conclusion of the previous section is, if anyone understands Krishna's dealing with the gopis is pure, is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. In this section, Krishna explains about the symptoms of a person who is in full knowledge of action. What is action? We should know what is action, what is inaction, what is forbidden action. Krishna is going to explain everything. He says, Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo apyatra mohita tadhe karma pravakshami yajnatva mokshashe shubhat. Even the kavi, those who are intelligent, even they are mohita, they are bewildered. In what? In knowing what is karma, what is akarma, what is action, what is inaction. Even the intelligent person are bewildered in knowing what is karma, what is akarma, what is action, what is inaction. Now, my dear Rajno, I am going to tell what is action, by knowing which you will be liberated from all sins. Then Krishna explains, the intricacies of action are very difficult to understand. Therefore, one should properly know what is action, what is inaction, what is forbidden action. When we know, then we'll be able to follow properly and we'll get freed from reaction. What is action? What is karma? Karma means action, the activity that we perform according to the direction of the scripture is called karma. We'll get good result. We'll be promoted to heavenly planet. We'll get good birth in the next life. Any activity that we perform according to the direction of scripture is called karma. What is vikarma? Forbidden action. Forbidden action means any activity that is not approved by Shastras. Any activity we perform against the direction of the Shastras is called vikarma or forbidden activities, like a meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. These are called forbidden action. One should not commit this kind of activities because these are forbidden action. What is karma? What is inaction? Inaction means any activity that we perform for the pleasure of Lord Krishna that does not produce any reaction. In general, any activity we perform, it gives reaction. In akarma, the activity we perform, when we perform the activity for the pleasure of the Lord, it does not produce any reaction. When we do not get any reaction, we are free from all contamination and we'll go back home, back to Godhead. This is called akarma. Now Krishna says, next one, how one should see what is action, what is inaction. Akarmane karma yapashet. Krishna says, one who sees inaction in action and action in action is intelligent among men. Although he performs all kinds of activity, he is situated in transcendental position. So it's very difficult to understand. Should hear carefully. Krishna says, one who sees inaction is a one word. One who sees inaction, akarma in karma, inaction in action, action in inaction is intelligent among men. Is transcendently situated. Although he performs different kinds of activity, he does not get any reaction. What is that? What is it? Inaction in action. Krishna says, inaction in action means if we perform devotion service, that's also an activity, but that does not produce any result, any reaction. Devotional service does not produce any reaction. That is called inaction in action. Action means activity. Inaction means does not produce any reaction. So if Arjuna fights and kills people on the battlefield, is performing an action, but under the direction of Krishna, it's called devotional service. Any activity that we perform under the direction of spiritual master is called devotional service. That does not give any reaction. This is called inaction in action. And what is the meaning of action in inaction? Here inaction means not performing one's duty, one's work. Like a sannyasi, they do not perform any duty. They think, because I do not perform any duty, I will not get any reaction. No, that's wrong. Even sannyasis sometimes, they have to cook, they have to walk, they have to boil the water, they have to take bath. While doing these activities, they kill jivas. While walking, they kill an ant. While taking bath, they kill insects, small insects. So that will produce reaction. Although one may be sannyasi, but still it produces reaction. That is called action in inaction. They will get reaction even if he does not perform an activity. So Arjuna thought, by going to the forest, by not fighting, you will not get any reaction. But Krishna says, no, you will get reaction. Even if you go to forest, you will get reaction. Rather, you be here and fight, you will not get any reaction. This is called one who sees inaction in action, and action in inaction is intelligent among men. Krishna is saying, you become intelligent. If you fight, you will become intelligent. and we'll go back home, back to God. We'll be situated in transcendental platform. So the next Krishna explains, Idrichala basantushto dvundalto vimatsaraha samasiddho asiddhocha kritvapi nasabadhyate. One should be satisfied with whatever comes on its own accord. One should become free from duality. One should not become envious of others. In this way, you become free from bondage. So generally, we should have one concept. We should be convinced in our life that when Krishna can provide food to elephants in the jungle and provides foods to the ants in our room, can't he maintain us? Can't he provide food? We should have a strong conviction that Krishna will maintain us. Either Krishna can give sumptuous feast or he may give khichdi. We should be satisfied. We should not hanker after food. I want this, I want this, I want this. But we should be satisfied with whatever we get by the mercy of Lord. And we should not become envious of anyone. When we see somebody is superior to us, particularly somebody is opulent than us, somebody has got more talent, we become envious. We should not become envious of anyone. Why? Because they got their position, they become rich because they deserve. They deserve, therefore Krishna has given. Why should I become envious of that person? No one can enjoy even 1% more than what he deserves. Therefore, I should not become envious of anyone. They enjoy because they deserve. Krishna has given. If I become envious, that means I am finding a fault with Krishna. Why you are given him? Krishna is not a fool to give him happiness or to give him some position. He gives the position to somebody because he deserves. I should not find fault in Krishna's sanction. Krishna knows what is right. I should accept whatever it comes to me as the mercy of Lord. Be satisfied. There was one bird. Crow. The crow lived in the forest happily, satisfied. One day the crow happened to see a swan. The swan is white in color, very beautiful. The crow went to swan and said to swan, "My dear swan, I think you must be a happiest bird in the world." Why? Because you look very white. See, I am very black. I am not good. I am not looking good. You look very good. Then swan said, "Yes, I too thought I am the happiest person, happiest bird, until I saw a parrot, because parrot has got two colors." So then the crow thought, parrot must be a happiest bird. Then the crow went to a parrot and said to parrot, "My dear parrot, I think you must be a happiest bird in the world." The parrot said, "Yes, I too thought like that until I saw a peacock, because peacock has got multicolor." So then the crow thought, peacock must be a happiest bird in the entire world. Then the crow approached peacock. Peacock was in the zoo. There are many people gathered to see the peacock. Many people were standing and taking selfies along with peacock. So all the people went. The crow said, "My dear peacock, I think you must be the happiest bird in the world." The peacock said, "Yes, I too thought like that. Because of my beauty, I am imprisoned. I am put in the cage. I am put in the cage. In the past few days, I have been thinking, if I were a crow, I can happily roam everywhere without any restriction." So from this small story, we can understand we should be satisfied with whatever we have got. We should not try to see this person position. We should not be carried away by others, because we have got whatever we have got is sanctioned by the Lord and should be satisfied with that. And Krishna says, "Samasiddhav asiddhocha." one should be steady in success and failure. One should be steady in both success and failure. Sometimes we may be doing service to Krishna. We may become unsuccessful also. When we perform a devotional service, it's not that we should be always successful. If we have become unsuccessful, it is the arrangement of the Lord. We should not become discouraged or disappointed or dejected. Krishna wanted to teach some lessons to us through failures. Therefore, even when we face failures in our life, we should be steady. These are the qualifications by which we can become free from bondage. These are the symptoms of a person in full knowledge of action. Next, Krishna explains about different types of sacrifice approved in the Vedas. So according to Varnashram Dharma, everyone has to perform different kinds of sacrifice to please Lord Krishna. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Lord Krishna. Like a brahmachari. How he can perform sacrifice? Brahmacharis perform sacrifice by giving their ears to hear about the glories of the Lord. In this way, they can please the Lord. Simply by hearing the glories of the Lord from the mouth of pure devotees, Brahmachari can perform sacrifice and please Lord Krishna. Therefore, Brahmacharis are sent to Gurukula at the age of 5. For what purpose? To hear about the glories of the Lord from spiritual master. So, eagerness to hear about the Lord is the only qualification by which we can go back to the abode of the Lord. Hearing about the Lord is the right medicine. Eating prasadam is the proper diet. Simply by following this, hearing and taking prasadam, one can become free from the material disease and will become eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So Brahmachari performs sacrifice by hearing about the glories of the Lord. Not only Brahmacharis, even all other people also. Grahasthas, how they can please Lord. So generally a man wants a wife to associate. Therefore he get married. Although license is given to enjoy sense gratification through marriage, but one should not enjoy sense gratification unlimitedly. One should restrict. One should follow the rules and regulations. He cannot take it for granted, okay, because I got married, I can enjoy unlimitedly. No. Only for particular reason he can enjoy. He should restrict. By restricting his sense gratification, he can please Lord. Narada Muni says, even a householder, a grahastha, how can achieve liberation? Even grahasthas should invite Vaishnavas to their house and hear from them about the glories of the Lord. And grahasthas should render service unto Vaishnavas, render service unto guests. By doing this, they can please Lord. In fact, grahastha should maintain brahmacharis and sannyasis, because brahmacharis do not perform any work, nor sannyasis. So duty of grahastha ashrama to support, to maintain both brahmachari and sannyasis. In this way they can please the Lord. How the rich people can please Lord Krishna? Rich people can give their hard-earned money to Krishna for his daily pujas, nitya sevas like abhishekam for Krishna and distributing prasadam, building a temple. So by giving their hard-earned money to Krishna for Krishna's purpose, for Krishna's service, they can please Krishna. So there are different kinds of people can perform different kinds of sacrifice. Ultimately, all the activities meant for pleasing the Lord. So among all kinds of sacrifices, one who serves the life of dedication to serve the mission of Lord is greater sacrifice than all the sacrifice. Therefore, Krishna wanted Arjuna to dedicate his life to serve his mission. What was his mission? To reduce the burden of the earth. This is the third section. The final section is called Transcendental Knowledge. Krishna explains what is transcendental knowledge, how to receive this transcendental knowledge. Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashana Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnanina Tattva Darshana. Krishna says, one who wants to learn the transcendental knowledge must approach a bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him. Then inquire from him submissively. The spiritual master is a realized soul. He will impart the knowledge to the disciple. So when we go to spiritual master, it's our duty to serve. Unless we serve spiritual master, we cannot receive transcendental knowledge. The secret of advancement in spiritual life is to satisfy spiritual master by our submission, by our service. When spiritual master sees our submissiveness and our service spirit, is so pleased, and he instructs a disciple about the knowledge, about the transcendental knowledge. Even Krishna personally demonstrated this, how one can receive a transcendental knowledge by serving a spiritual master. This already we discussed in the introduction section. Nonetheless, I just once again repeat the same. When Krishna and Sudama, they were studying under Sandipani Muni, his wife, Sandipani Muni, wife, said to Krishna and Sudama, please go and get firewood. So Krishna and Sudama went to forest. They entered deep inside the forest to get the firewood. But all of a sudden there was a cloud. There was a rain and became dark. The children forgot the way to come back. They tried to come back, they were lost. They were struggling, shivering, too much rain. And they could not return at all to home. At home, Sandipani Muni and wife, they were eagerly expecting that Krishna and Sudama would come. They did not come. So they were very anxious for Krishna and Sudama. Therefore, next day morning, Sandipani Muni took some of his disciples. They started searching for Krishna and Sudama. They entered the deep inside the forest and they saw Krishna and Sudama were, both of them were catching hold of their hands and shivering, struggling a lot. They are 13, 14 years old boys. So when Sandipani Muni saw that they were struggling so much and said, my dear boys, you sacrificed all your comforts to serve me. Generally, everyone wants to take care of his body as the first priority. But you boys gave up your bodily comfort and underwent a lot of troubles to serve me. I am very much pleased by your activity. It is a duty of the disciple to serve the spiritual master by sacrificing all his bodily comfort. I am very much pleased by your act. Therefore, I will bless you. All your desires, all your ambitions will be fulfilled. Whatever you learned from me, everything will remain in your memory. So when we please spiritual master, whatever knowledge we get from the spiritual master will remain in our memory. If we do not satisfy the spiritual master, although we may receive knowledge, but we cannot remember at the time of our death. What is the goal of our life? Ante Narayana Smriti. One should remember Krishna at the time of death. If we satisfy the spiritual master, by his blessings, we will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. Otherwise, we will not be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. Therefore, one should serve Krishna. One should serve spiritual master to receive this transcendental knowledge. Then Krishna says, Yajñātvana punarmavam evam yasasi pandava yena bhutani asheshani drakshashi atmani atomai. After you learn this transcendental knowledge, you will not fall into delusion. What is this transcendental knowledge? When you learn this transcendental knowledge, you understand every living being, every jiva is part and parcel of me. When you understand this concept, you will not fall into Maya once again. So, how do we understand? This is a knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. When we love Krishna, naturally we love all the living entities. We have got, in our family, we have got relationship with our brothers and sisters. Why we have got relationship? We love our brother and sister because they are connected to my father. I am connected to my father. My brother is connected to my father. Therefore, I have got relationship with my brother. When brother becomes president or become prime minister, I do not become envious of my brother. Rather, I feel proud of my brother. I can go and tell my brother has become chief minister, he has become prime minister, he has become Nobel laureate. We do not become envious of our brothers. Why? Because he is connected to me through my father. Similarly, when we accept Krishna as a supreme father, all the jivas are connected to Krishna, will not become envious of anybody, will not become envious of anyone. We will not do any injustice to anybody. Like we will not do any injustice to our own brothers. Suppose my brother is not educated, is a very poor person. I am an educated person. If I serve him, I will help him, I support him, my father will be happy. Rather, if I try to kill him because he is a dull person, if I kill him, I cannot satisfy my father. Similarly, even the poor jivas, the hens, goats, the many jivas, if we try to kill the poor animals for my tongue taste, I cannot satisfy father. How can I satisfy? No father will be happy if his son, one dull son, is being killed by another son. How can we do this act? If we love Krishna, then we will not do this injustice to any jivas. It's our duty to protect all the jivas, to maintain, because they belong to Krishna. Everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. Then we will not become envious of Lord. This is called transcendental knowledge. Not only jivas, even other things. Just like a mother. Mother loves her beloved child. The child is attached to toys. When our mother sees the toys of our beloved child, mother remembers child. When mother sees the toy, immediately she remembers her child. Why? Because the toy belongs to her child. Mother has got so much affection for her child. Therefore, the moment she sees the object, immediately she connects. Oh, this. Therefore, she carefully protects, keeps the toy safely. Similarly, the material energies, Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, all the things like a sun, moon, earth, water, fire, everything is energy of the Lord. Everything is the creation of the Lord. Everything is connected to the Lord. So, when I love Krishna, whenever I see sun, moon, earth, water, fire, air, ether, immediately connect to Krishna. Immediately I remember Krishna. Therefore, I do not waste any resources. For example, light is on while in the house. Nobody is there. Immediately switch off the light because it's a property of the Lord. Because the resource is meant for Lord. We should not waste some tap waters flowing unnecessarily, leaking. We should go on to close because that belongs to Krishna. We should save all the resources because everything belongs to Krishna. We should use everything in the service of Krishna. This is called transcendental knowledge. Then Krishna concludes, a faithful person who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge, he quickly makes progress in spiritual life and attains spiritual peace. On the other hand, the ignorant, a person who doesn't have faith in the revealed scriptures, he cannot understand God or instruction. For a doubting soul, there is neither happiness in this world nor in the next. Finally, Krishna concludes in this chapter by saying, Tasmat ajnana sambhutam ritsam jnana chitvainam samshayam yogam atishtatishta bharata. Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, no, there is ignorance, doubts which is arisen out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of transcendental knowledge. Because Arjuna had a doubt that has come out of ignorance. Now the doubt should be slashed by the weapon of transcendental knowledge. should destroy the doubt by this transcendental knowledge. Get up and fight. This is the instruction, final instruction of this chapter to Arjuna. What is ignorance? Ignorance means not knowing our duty. We think our duty is to maintain our family. I have to maintain my wife, my children, my family, my community, my society. If they are happy, I'll be happy. This is what we are thinking. It's our duty. Arjuna too was thinking, keeping his family members happy, he'll be happy. That is called ignorance. Ignorance means not knowing one's duty. Therefore, he needs instruction from Krishna to overcome his ignorance. Therefore, Krishna spoke this transcendental knowledge. What is the knowledge? Transcendental knowledge. The transcendental knowledge is nothing but knowing that we are part and parcel of Krishna. The duty of the part is to cooperate with the whole. We should understand we are the eternal servant of Krishna. The duty of a servant to serve a master. Arjuna want to satisfy his own senses, not understanding the interest of the master. The duty of a servant to act according to the interest of the master. But Arjuna was forgetting this principle. Therefore, Krishna spoke this knowledge. Arjuna should understand, should act according to the interest of the Lord by giving up his personal interest. Therefore, Krishna said, get up and fight. Krishna said, get up and fight. This is the conclusion of this chapter. Just like a gold is there. If the gold is melted in fire, the gold gives up all its impurities, come to its original brilliant shape. Similarly, the soul, jivas, when we are absorbed in the fire of transcendental knowledge, we become free from all the impurities, free from all contamination, come to the original position of being an eternal servant of Krishna and serve Krishna. So Arjuna should give up all the impurities, come to his position, real position of being an eternal servant of Krishna and follow the interest of the Lord. The interest of the Lord was to reduce the burden of the earth. Arjuna should understand and should fight. That is the purport of this chapter. So let's have a short summary of this chapter. So Krishna spoke in the beginning, the first section. Krishna re-establishes the chain of descending succession. And the science of Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees, not by non-devotees. Only by the process of devotional service, one can have access to this knowledge. Then Krishna, next, simply by knowing Krishna's birth and activities and his instructions are transcendental, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, we should always eager to read and hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly. By hearing Bhagavatam regularly, we'll be able to understand Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental. In this way, we can reach the abode of Lord. And one should perform his activity without any attachment to the result. We should not become envious of anybody. Should accept whatever comes on his own accord. In this way, even though we perform activity, we will not get entangled. So, next section, Krishna said, among all kinds of sacrifices, life of dedication to serve the mission of Lord is far superior than all the sacrifices. Therefore, Arjuna should understand this principle and fulfill the desire of the Lord. Then last section, Krishna explained about the transcendental knowledge. How one can receive the transcendental knowledge? By approaching a bona fide spiritual master, by rendering service unto him, will receive the transcendental knowledge. This is the summary of this chapter. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Hare Krishna. Thank you all.